What's going on, guys? Matt in the Hat, Matt Johnson Real Estate, powered by Keller Williams Diamond Partners. You are tuned in to the Hot List. I come to y'all Monday through Friday around 12 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we talk about a property that is new to the market. Maybe it's been on the market and had some type of recent price reduction that I want to share with you guys, want you guys to know, and or it is something unique about the property that makes it stand out from some of the others. And that's just something that I feel like somebody who's a potential buyer should know. I also answer a question that is submitted by you, the viewers, during our question of the day segment. And we are back to having a sponsor of the week, and this week is going to be no different, and I will get into that shortly. When you guys jump in here, if you're watching this live, make sure you comment #live, share this out. If you're catching this back on the replay, make sure you also comment with the comment #replay. That way I know you're catching this live or on the replay. And as you guys, if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, you'll notice that the gear is a little different. As I continue to evolve and get better and try different things to bring this better for you, that's what I'm going to do. So today I have included the headphones so I can hear what you guys hear. That way I don't have to worry about any type of sound that's coming out. That as long as I'm hearing it, I know you guys will hear it, and that works for me. So the property we're talking about today is 2520 El Charro Court. That's right here in Emporia. It is a 3-bed, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage. Has 1,884 square feet of finished space. Currently listed at $174,900, courtesy of Eck Real Estate. This house is very cool. There's been some updates on it. It's in a northwestern part of town, and it's also on a cul-de-sac. Y'all know I love cul-de-sacs, living on one myself. I'm a big fan of them, having had 3 kids grow up on a cul-de-sac. If you get a chance to purchase a house on a cul-de-sac, I would absolutely recommend that. What I like about this house, very open concept. You've got the kitchen, living room, dining room, all open, flows into one another, extremely nice. On the main level, it's got 3 bedrooms, and then in the basement, you've got a nice big finished family room as well. There's a deck out back. Also, there are 2 outbuildings out back. So there's one that's more of a shed for lawn and garden, and then the other one is currently used as an art studio. But I would imagine you can make that whatever you want. So make sure you guys click the link. Check out this house. It's going to take you right to my website. If you have any questions, you can get a hold of me right from the website, or you can message me through Facebook. Before we get to the question of the day, I do want to recognize our sponsor of the week, who is Max Out Entertainment. Kelly Maxfield operates Max Out Entertainment, and I mentioned that he just did an event for us. He does block parties, he does weddings, he does birthdays, whatever. If you want to throw a party, Kelly is the guy you need to call. Kelly is actually the one that did Lisa and I's wedding, and he was phenomenal. Just the energy that he brought, the music that he played, he got on the mic, emceed the whole thing as well. And you are not going to find somebody that is better on a mic than Kelly Maxfield. So make sure you guys book him, because he's going to fill up. He's going to fill up quick. So you're curious about availability, I've included a link in the description as well. That'll take you right to his Facebook page. You can get a hold of him and check availability, so you are able to book him for your wedding, your birthday. Maybe you want to have a block party. Shut down your block and have him out for a block party. Call him. I guarantee he'll be able to make it happen. Question of the day. This one, we've gone back and forth on a couple times before, and I had to not only talk to a few other people, but to kind of do some research myself. Is there any way that I can make gardening easier? Now, for somebody like me who has a bad set of knees, I'm not a huge fan of bending or kneeling or anything of that nature. And as somebody who doesn't currently have a garden, I often wonder how much work it truly takes. Now, I've heard horror stories, and Lisa and I've mentioned before, have been hesitant because of, in our mind, the high level of maintenance that a garden requires. Now, I'm sure that the larger garden you get, the more maintenance it's going to require. It just makes sense. So, when I got this question, I did talk to a few people. Actually, one I used to work with, and one I see at the gym every morning, and they've had gardens for years. And I started to realize, speaking with them, that it doesn't necessarily take hours of back-breaking labor or gallons and gallons of water to keep a garden growing. So they advised me in some ways to make gardening easier and still be able to increase my time somewhere else, that make sure that that garden just didn't consume my time. And I'm sure, like me, many people think that keeping a garden is massively labor intensive, especially the labor part, right? So many people who have had gardens for years and years, they have found ways and discovered ways to simplify the process while making it more productive. Now, I'm sure that a lot of this can be found on Pinterest as well. I took a little bit from that, but most of this is going to be from the folks that I know personally and have spoken with. So here are 5 ways that you can make gardening easier. Number 1 is going to be your sprinklers. So that's right, sprinklers are not just for your lawns anymore. They can help out a great deal in your garden. Just make sure that it is a nice sunny day. There's a low risk of water standing on the leaves, because a lot of fruits and vegetables do not like water standing on their leaves, especially that sun gets up top, that water's still on them. It's going to burn holes right in those leaves, and that's just going to put unneeded stress on those plants. Also, you can use these sprinklers on smaller trees or shrubs to help them kind of get a little bit better start than they would otherwise. And just, again, making sure that it's more of a warm, dry day, that even with some trees and shrubs, they don't like necessarily water being on their leaves, and that sun beats down, just like acts like a magnifying glass and gonna burn right through them leaves. Number 2 is drip irrigation. So while sprinklers are great for larger areas, what if you don't have, a large garden? You've just got a smaller garden. Like, for example, in our backyard, I don't know that we would necessarily need a sprinkler because we have limited space. Or what if you just want to do specific plants and not the whole garden or not the whole area? Drip irrigation is going to be your way to go. So it's a little bit different than just what some people have in mind as far as a soaker hose goes, because these, you have the option of a basic timer, or you can get a more sophisticated system that will allow you to slowly drip some water at the base of these plants. So this is going to be ideal for plants that don't like water on the leaves or just need more of a individual care. Number 3 are going to be native plants. So unfortunately, there's no such thing as a plant that needs zero attention. Native plants do come close. Now, these plants have spent years and generations evolving in whatever area you live. Whether it's in the desert or New York City, there are native plants that will survive in that area. So around here, for example, in the Flint Hills, we have prairie plants like native grasses, where obviously you get out further west towards the coast, you're going to have some cactus and some succulents out that way. If you're not sure what is native to your area or what will really grow well in your area, I would recommend visiting a local nursery, getting hold of a landscaper, because those two will definitely know what is going to grow the best in your area. Number 4 are containers. Sounds weird, right? But these can be, pots on your patio or your deck, or flower boxes, or, like gutter type boxes that are loaded down with some type of plants, whether you got cucumbers, whether you got strawberries, whatever the case may be. This is going to make your job gardening easier because it's a smaller container and it's contained to a smaller space. So you can mix the perfect amount of soil as well as control the drainage from the container. So with this, I mentioned that you add the perfect amount of potting soil and regular dirt, throw some fertilizer in there, and water those bad boys, and those things will just absolutely take off. It'll be phenomenal. Finally, number 5 is going to be vertical gardens. I know a lot of people that's gonna take back a little bit. It sounds like something from an infomercial. Well, with the vertical gardens, this kind of eliminates plants that are in or on the ground. You know how they kind of tend to overlap, run into each other, become a mess, especially if those plants are viney plants or climbers. So the advantage that the vertical gardens have, they're not just limited to plants that are considered climbers or vine style plants. What this allows you to do, this gives you the ability to hang different levels of containers. So I've seen, for example, and again, this is a Pinterest thing. I've seen anything from small buckets, like quart size containers, clear up to gallon buckets. I saw one thing on Pinterest. I don't know how well it would work, but it's one of those shoe racks that you buy, that you hang on the back of a door, and obviously they just had a soil in there and a little bit of plants. But this allows you to make multiple levels of these containers, so that it gives you more space for growing. Just like the containers, this allows you to control the environment because it's a little bit smaller environment than what you would have like a traditional garden that's going to be in the ground. Now, this is my favorite one after talking to these folks, because this seems like a win-win for me, because number one, they're going to be, at waist level, if not higher. So that means no bending, no kneeling, no taking a hoe or rake and going down each row, which I had to do growing up to eliminate those weeds. So they're going to be smaller areas. So you just gotta yank them weeds out and get rid of them. So I'm a big fan of that. Just to give you one more rundown of the top 5 ways to make gardening easier. Number 1 is going to be the sprinklers. No, they're just not for lawns anymore. You can use them for a smaller garden area. Number 2 is drip irrigation, that allows you to do specific plants and more controlled if needed. Number 3 is going to be native plants. If you're not sure what grows native in your area, or what may grow better with less maintenance, get with your local nursery or a landscaper. Number 4 is going to be containers, whether it's, I mentioned putting the pots on a patio or a deck. That's going to give you a little smaller environment to enable to control that. And finally, number 5 is vertical gardens, that are going to allow you to maximize the space that you have. Now, I will throw one caution with containers and with vertical gardens. As somebody who has pets, I can tell you, especially with Chase's dog, if he sees a pot, he will do what he can to get to it. He will jump up on a chair, he'll jump up on a table, and he will dig into that pot or knock it over so that he can pull out what's inside and he can play with it. So just, I would caution that and put it somewhere where dogs, cats may not be able to get or may not have an interest in. So just caution right there with that. So that's what I got for you guys on the hot list today. Hopefully you got something from that. I hope that you can take something from this and use it in your current garden, or if you've been hesitant like Lisa and I have with creating or making a garden, that this gives you some ideas and something to work with going forward. So thank you guys for watching the hot list today with Matt in a Hat, Matt Johnson Real Estate, powered by Keller Williams Diamond Partners. I do this because your experience matters and should be trusted with a veteran. Y'all have an awesome Tuesday, and I will see you tomorrow.